Happy birthday to us, and the party continues here. I'm the Leeds Club Bunker. We're celebrating 61st birthday today for Para Leagues. It's been a blast. We've had a bit of a segment earlier. We talked about the history of the Leeds Club. Blake's been doing his thing, doing some bingo. We've got some amazing prizes coming up in our raffle this afternoon, so make sure you tune in for that. And in this segment here, I just want to go and talk about the two guys that pretty much made this place happen. It's this place called the House that Jack built, and it's because the two Jacks, Jack Argent and Jack Boyle, were a big part of making this thing happen. I was going to go a bit off scripting. I was going to go rogue and just trying to talk in my own words, but as I was reading through these list of achievements these guys have done and how they've done it, I thought it'd be wrong to miss something out. So I'm just going to stick to the script, and then we'll just have a chat as we go through it. Para Leagues Club, as it stands today, is a success story that was pioneered by the initial efforts of the two men responsible, and you guys know who that is. Jack Boyle, Jack Argent. Jack Boyle saw the current site on O'Connell Street up for grabs, and he made a deposit on it for £25. It was lodged, and in 1962, that same Jack Boyle became a director, and with the exception of 2 years on the board continuously, he died with 22 years on the board in all. So, huge effort from Jack Boyle and his contribution he's made. The Boyle family lived in Oatlands, and they have a huge legacy of community service in the area as well, so they've got a really great reputation. They used to perform musical concerts at schools, hospitals and jails in the area, and according to his son, Father John, they would perform at the Old Girls Industrial School, the former St. Pat's Orphanage, and at the nearby psychiatric hospital. They would often then head next door to the local jail. So Jack Boyle and his family were incredible in the community. He also served in the ambulance service for the Parramatta Auburn district, and he was on the board for the development of the local swimming pool with his wife. Actually, speaking of the local swimming pool, if anyone's seen the plans for the new swimming pool in Parramatta, it looks pretty amazing. So pretty excited there for that. Jack's wife became conscious of a great community need when she realised there was many going without hot meals. So she worked with the mayoress at the time, Eileen Mahoney, and they established Meals on Wheels. I still remember Meals on Wheels. That was around for a long time. Jack's wife also worked to set up the Parramatta Easterford, so that was her that should set that up. Jack was so passionate about the Eels. I love this story. Also, shout out to Carmel, Jack's daughter. I contacted her in the last few days just to get a few insights and a bit of some stories on Jack Boyle, and she gave me this cracker. It's a great story. He's so passionate about the Eels that his daughter recalls, and that's Carmel. The day of her wedding, it was which was to begin at 5 p.m. Para was playing Western Suburbs at Lidcombe Oval at 3 p.m. Jack stayed till half-time and was home just in time to walk her down the aisle. Unfortunately, it was the only game Para won that year, and Jack saw only half of it. Jackie boy, I think there's many men that feel your pain. Jack Boyle had a daughter, Carmel, and two sons, Father Boyle and Patrick Smith. Jack had 3 grandchildren, Kristen, Katie Sue, and a grandson. Such was Jack's passion for his beloved Eels that 2 nights before he died in 1986, he was watching the National Panasonic Cup from his hospital bed. At one stage, the nurse was fixing his drip, and he started to groan. And the nurse said, "So, Mr. Boyle, are you okay? Did I hurt you?" And Jack said, "No. Didn't you see it? Still, I nearly knocked it on." Jack Boyle. And let's talk about the other Jack for a second. Jack Argent. Jack Argent was very hands-on. Jack was we spoke earlier in the last segment about Jack's involvement with building the actual building. Jack Argent was one of those responsible for the club. He also helped get the license and the purchasing of the land where the club now stands. His building company was also responsible for the original construction of the Parramatta Leagues Club, which opened on the 22nd of August, 1959. You'll still find foundation members who remember it as I was yesterday, and fondly refer to the club as a house that Jack built. Jack Argent held the position as a director of Parramatta Leagues Club from 1957 and 58. After that, he decided the concept of a licensed premises needed to be investigated. At the opening, he was installed as the club's first secretary manager, a position he maintained for 10 years before stepping down to concentrate on his building company. As we know, he was a builder. He built this place and he stood down to focus on that. Jack Argent's involvement with Parramatta stretches back further than the opening of the club. At the tender age of 18, Jack was a flying winger playing with the Parramatta Endeavour team that played in the Western Sydney District Comp. In those days, Parramatta did not have a first grade team in the New South Wales Rugby League, uh, which was a bit of a shame. But Argent thought it was a shame as well, so he thought it was unacceptable. And his playing days finished, he took up himself to rectify the situation. Along with a group of prominent Parramatta identities, Jack attempted to convince the New South Wales Rugby League to accept Parramatta in the 1936 competition. On this occasion, the bid was rejected. But old Jackie Argent was a man of persistence and he had a lot of dedication. Argent was not one to give in easily. After the end of World War II, having served as a commander of the anti-tank division of the 9th Battalion, he and his team put another bid to New South Wales Rugby League. And on the 28th of October 1946, they were successful. Argent was elected the first president of Parramatta District Football Club and was sitting in the W.P. Noliak Pavilion at Cumberland Oval as a crowd of 6,000 turned out on 12th of April 1947 when Parramatta took the field to play Newtown in their first game. Bit of trivia. Does anyone know what Parramatta was called before they were the Eels? I'll have a little think about that before we get to it. And don't Google it. No cheating, guys. They played the first game against Newtown. Jack Argent was passionate about football, and during their low periods, he was dedicated as ever to seeing the team's fortune turn around. His tireless efforts were finally rewarded in 1981 when Parramatta tasted their first premiership success. By the way, the answer for the last one, Parramatta were the Fruit Pickers. Look that up. I'm pretty sure that's right. Jack had an illustrious career with New South Wales Rugby League. He was a long-term member of the executive committee, responsible for control of rugby league throughout Australia. He was appointed manager of the 1959 to 1960 Australian team. And if you know anything about that year and the Kangaroo tour they had, it was probably the envy of every young rugby league player back in those days. I've listened to where they went. They did a 6-month tour, and they went to Great Britain, France, Italy, USA, and Canada. We've heard of some good boys trips and some good footy tours. I think that's probably the one. This one takes the cake. 6 months away with the boys at those countries sounds like a great tour to be on. The squad included some of the greats in the history of rugby league: Keith Barnes, Reg Gazinger, Johnny Raper, Eddie Lumsden, Noel Kelly, Ian Walsh, Ken Irvine, Brian Hamley, Rex Mossop, and coached by the immortal Clive Churchill. Those are the guys on that tour. Sounds like amazing. Jack Argent was part of that as well. So his life and his career were extended beyond the confines of Parramatta District. Those who knew Jack personally can recount tales of his involvement as a colonel in World War II. It was part of his life that he was really passionate about. He could retell stories about various battles and encounters and bring them to life with the ability to make the audience feel as though they were there on the battlefields themselves. For a man who was involved in so many positions of prominence and formality within the club, some of the fondest memories of Jack are simply as a mate. He was renowned for welcoming disposition and was known as a man of the people. These endearing qualities, combined with his business sense and forward thinking, have made Jack Argent's name live long in the memories of all those involved at Parramatta Leagues Club. Jack Argent passed away in August 2004, aged 99. But his influence on Parramatta Leagues Club has not subsided and will continue on strongly into the future. As you enter into the club, take the time to look towards the photo in the foyer and remember Jack Argent as the man who made it happen. Both Jacks were instrumental in making Parramatta Leagues Club and Parramatta Eels the powerhouses they are today. In 2018, at the instruction of CEO Bevan Paul, Parramatta Leagues Club honoured the two Jacks by opening our very own Jack's Brewery on level 3 in the club. Parramatta Leagues Club will always be known as a house that Jack built. Oh, what a story. It's like I said, these two guys, I think it's so important that we don't forget our past and who helped make this happen, who helped make this Leagues Club happen. And we always talk about the importance of the Leagues Club to the Parramatta Eels. If you're a Parramatta Eels fan, you've got a lot to be grateful for, not only for this Leagues Club, but for the two Jacks that helped make it happen. So next time you're sipping on a Jack's Pale Ale and you're wondering who these two Jacks are, keep in mind that these two guys are the guys that built this house, and they'll forever be the guys that made Parramatta Leagues Club what it is today, and in turn the Eels what they are today. Thanks for tuning in. Keep tuning in later in the day. Like I said, if you haven't bought your raffle yet, um, get on there quickly because the prizes are awesome. There's some really good giveaways. Pretty sure I saw some TVs and some crazy prizes. So get on there, get your raffle. I'm going to be back on giving away prizes with Blake later on. Thanks again for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the story of the two Jacks. Um, on that note, I might go downstairs and have a Jack's Pale Ale as we speak. See you guys later. Oh, yeah, I'm going to figure this out. See you.